Hi everyone, I hope you're all having a great day and enjoying your week so far. We're just going to wait a couple of minutes. You're here with myself, Tracy, and Belinda. We're going to be showing you our Varoma class. Just some really quick, simple tips to do some 30-minute meals during the week, or maybe even some really quick meal prep, on a Sunday afternoon. Mary might also be joining us a little bit later on to show us some of her tips. So we'll just we'll keep you posted whether she comes on or not. But otherwise, I'm just going to give everyone a few minutes to jump in. If you can pop in the chat for me where you're from, how you found out about the class, and what Thermomix you have. I'd love to know a little bit about you guys, just while we wait for people to come on in. While we're doing that, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Tracy. I live in Ararat, which is up in the Grampians region, and I'm the team leader for this western part of Victoria. So from Ballarat, right across to the border, up to Mildura, down Swan Hill, and back through to Ballarat is the area that our team look after. So we have plenty of opportunity and plenty of space for anyone that's wanting to come on and earn their Thermomix with only 4 sales. So I'd love to talk to you about that. Belinda is going to introduce herself as well just before we get started. So it's over to you, Belinda.
Oh, hi everyone. So I obviously, as Tracy said, I'm in Ballarat. I've been a consultant with Thermomix for a couple of years now, but I've been using a Thermomix, my first TM31 that I purchased, approximately 10 years ago. And I loved my 31 and I was never going to get the 6. And then when I saw it, I just couldn't believe what functions it had. So here I am as a consultant now, sharing all about how you can cook all sorts of things in your Thermomix. So I'm going to show you yogurt tonight in your Thermomix. So I hope share a few tips with you about that. And yeah, we'll see how we go.
Yeah, it looks, Belinda, I can see we've got people from Ballarat, we've got people from Stawell, we've got people from Bendigo, we've got even someone coming in from New South Wales. We normally have, we have an American lady that comes in the middle of their evening. She loves our classes. I'm waiting for her to jump in a bit later on. So, but before I do anything else, I think I'll get started. So I'm just going to add another spotlight, which is my machine. So what we're going to do this evening, we're going to be keeping our screens open so we can all interact in that. Can everybody see us okay? You should be spotlighted. Myself, Belinda, and my Thermomix. Yep, beautiful. Okay.
Mary's also in now, Trace, as well.
Fantastic. Let me go and find Mary. So there she is. Oh, she's in. You've added her in. Beautiful. Okay, I'll just find her. Just bear with me 1 second. I just need to rename her and then I can add her and introduce Mary to you all, who is one of our beautiful seasoned consultants. She has been around for a very long time. Mez, can you talk for me? There she is. I'm going to add you. I've found you. There we go.
Myself. Hello. Sorry, everyone. I had to sign in a long way. I don't know why, but my apologies. That's what you get for drinking wine under the trees with your husband. Sorry.
Love it. So where are you from, Mez?
So I'm from Ballarat. I've been here. I was actually the lady that showed Belinda her Thermomix 6. And she was so good and so incredibly excited about what the Thermomix could do that I said we should be doing it, which she is, and doing very, very well.
Awesome.
Can I say?
Yeah. So, Mez, you're actually first up the rank tonight.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to disappear with Belinda, and we're going to make you nice and big and tell us what you're cooking.
So because I've been a consultant for so long, gosh, I really should have put some makeup on. Anyway, I was introduced to the 31 the very first time in Ballarat. So it would have been 15 years ago. And it was in this house with a huge lot of people, and they were mostly health professionals, and they were milling things. And I had a little boy, long story short, saw half of it. One of the naturopath's sons bought mine in the nose, so we left early. And I came home to my mechanical engineer husband and tried to explain this thing. Forgot about it. saw it again and went, my scales have gone in my Salter scales and my bar mix, and I priced them, and it was going to be, I think, over $500 on sale. And I went and saw a demonstration and went, hold on a minute here. 2 things I'm going to buy for $500. This thing does over 10 things. I'm going to invest in this. And they kept asking me to be a consultant, and I went, don't have time. Anyway, long story short, I'm on. So this is an old recipe. We're talking about documents. That's what it was back in the old days. And this is, I don't even know where I got it. And I usually am very, very good at recognizing people and their work. This is called Keep Your Hands Clean Garlic and Ginger Marinade in the Thermomix. So this is one of those things that it uses pantry staples. So we've got soy and sesame oil. We've got some beautiful fresh ginger and garlic. So I've always got those on hand because I love anything Asian. And then some rice, which I'm going to do in the steaming basket, and then some vegetables. But because I've come on a little bit late, I hope Tracy doesn't mind, but I'm actually going to use the cutter. And I might just, here you go, can't use the Thermomix without it plugged in.
You go for it, Mez. What we're doing today.
Sorry.
Oh,
I thought I was
we've got plenty of time. We've just got, we're just doing our own little segment. So you take as long as you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this won't take long. What I love about it is you could actually have this prep the night before. It will take you 5 minutes like it did me. And then you quickly just throw it all together, go and bath the kids or pick up the kids or do whatever, or drink one under the trees. And I'm going to, though, cut my vegetables, or most of them, with the cutter. I hope that's okay, Tracy. I would have run that by you.
No, that's fine. Just bring your camera down just a fraction. Just yeah, perfect.
Okay. So the amazing thing about this cutter, like, I love the Thermomix. The only criticism I've ever had is that the texture's all uniform. So I would often hand chop things just to give that variance in texture. The thing I love about this, here's my bowl. I am just going to insert this and cut a few vegetables. Now, I could have done this by hand, but I thought, tonight was all about showing you things. 5 components. The shaft, very important. The basket, and this is what I love about it. It goes in. You can do all you have to do with cutting, take it out, and you've got a clean bowl to start. An amazing cutter blade, very sharp, be very careful. They do recommend you put that in the top of the dishwasher. One side, and it'll be hard to see on here, slices, either thinly or thickly. On the other side, it grates. So I've just got some carrots and some zucchini from the garden. So I'm going to do the number 1 side, and I'm going to put that in there like that. I'm going to add the lid. So much for me taking what I was doing. And wrong way. Down here. And I'm just going to do the carrots first. And because carrots are a harder vegetable, I'm going to go over to my clippings. Hopefully you can see that. Down the very bottom, I've got a slicing. And it gives you the little bit of blurb of which you can read when you've got yours. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to add some carrots, add in my thing, and go to thin. And it's just going to cut them down. I don't know how many seconds that was, but it wasn't too many. Beautiful little zucchinis from the garden. I've just picked those. I'll show you this just so you can see it. They're very fine. Wafer fine, actually. They'll cook very quickly. Put it back in. It's on the slicing mode. I'm going to put my zucchinis in. And there is actually 2 parts to this, a small part and a bigger part. And the reason they've done that is because of little fingers. So I'm going to go to thick now because zucchini is a little bit more delicate and quick to cook.
So, Mez, were you using the slicing function?
I'm using the slice function.
Beautiful.
So I'm just going to show you. Right there. And so there are my vegetables all done. I reckon that was about 5 seconds. And I didn't even peel. I buy organic carrots. I can't grow carrots, don't ask me why. Not well anyway. So I buy organic carrots, so they're all in there. I didn't even peel them. All I did was cut off the ends to make them nice and flat. There's my vegetables.
Beautiful.
So I've taken out my shaft, very important. It's a bit like the butterfly. I know when I had a few people accidentally left their butterfly in here, blitzed it with their parmesan, couldn't eat the parmesan, had to buy a butterfly. So just remember not to leave that in.
You know, Mez, that's happened already to someone, so do not forget the shaft.
Yeah, watch the shaft. You've all got to be careful of the shaft, girls. So here we go. So this is I am going the old-fashioned way. So if you were to manually on your screen, I think you can see it, we've got 3 circles: time, temperature, speed. If you've got a 31, the same thing, but you will manually use that with your little disc. I have to think about that now. Okay, so place your ginger and garlic into your mixing bowl, and we're going to chop, it says for about 8 seconds on speed 5. Just bear with me. Forgot the MC.
So everyone, this is called Keep Your Hands Clean.
Yes. So basically you don't have to worry about anything. So I don't even think it'll take that long, but I'll do it for 8 seconds, speed 5. Remember, this is the 31, and the 31, whilst is an amazing machine and I still love and use, I couldn't give her away. It's not quite as powerful. So what would be 5 on 31 might be, say, 4 on the 6. So I just do 4. Done. Now, looking at that, I'll go back. It's an old bit of ginger. I'm going to go back and say what the recipe did. And this is the thing. Sometimes, because food's organic, even though the recipe might say speed 4 or 5, depending on how hard or how big you put those in, sometimes you've just got to look at it and go, you know, it's no different from any other. You just got to give it a breath. I'm pretty sure by the sound, and most of us will cook with our ears, that that's done. Yeah. Beautiful and fine now, and smells amazing. Again, haven't had to chop that with my hands. And I suppose, you know, 10 years ago when I had this, that was probably one of the most amazing things to me, was the amount of time that I saved by not. I love to chop. I love to knead. But sometimes time is of the essence, especially when you've got a young family. So it says add 10 ml of soy and 10 ml of sesame. Now, if you're like me, I could do and our scale's incredibly accurate. They're 1 gram on the 6. I'll do that, but I just know I tend to be fairly generous.
It's like a glug or a dash or a dollop.
It's like a glass of wine, Tracy. How big's a glass of wine? That big or that big? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Tear it back. Oh, my husband said something cheeky then and I didn't hear it. So tear it back. And look, I love soy. That's 13. It's no big deal. And then all you've got to do is add your chicken pieces. Now, I quite often buy tenderloins. I couldn't be bothered going anywhere for them, so I went to the butcher's, bought 2 beautiful free-range chicken breasts, and there's a lot of chicken there. I might actually weigh it just to see how much, as a matter of interest. I've just put them into nice pieces, 611. We're going to put the lid on. Now, this is something really important, particularly if you're manually cooking. We just want to coat this, so we're going to hit the reverse button. So if anyone doesn't know how to do that, where your speed is, there's a little beautiful little blade sign. If you hit that, it will automatically go on the blunt side of the blades. So we are just going to very quickly put that on for a few seconds, 3 seconds. I'm not even going to bother on speed. All I'm doing is coating. That's all I'm doing to make sure that all reaches.
So this part you could do like for Sunday prep and have it marinate in the fridge for a few days.
Absolutely. One of the things I found when I was teaching, and I was, without going into too much, I was feeding 120 kids over 2 days. For me to mentally sometimes just have something marinated in the fridge just meant that in your head, you already feel like you've kind of partly there. So there's no reason you couldn't even do your vegetables like that the night before and just come in and go, right, done. So you could sit that in the fridge, and like all marinades, 24 hours is better, you know. With this, oh, it smells so good. I love sesame oil. Not everyone. Some people are allergic to nuts, but there's no reason you couldn't do that with just a little bit of or normal oil. So I'm going to spread this on the Varoma. So we've got the basket. We have the tray in cocktails. There's a theme tonight. Goes on top. And then the lid. So I'm going to put this chicken on the lid or the tray. Just spread it all across. So my reasoning behind this meal is this is a meal that will feed a family of 4 to 6 very easily. I'm going to keep some of this. We've already had dinner. I don't drink wine without food, by the way. And so what I'm going to do is send some with my husband, and some of these with this new cutter. I've been dying to make rice paper rolls. And when you steam chicken or fish, particularly in this amazing machine, it just is so tender. So I'm going to keep some of these, cut them up and make rice paper rolls tomorrow, Friday. So that is in the tray. So that is a full tray.
So 600 grams of chicken.
Sorry, Tracy.
600 grams of chicken fit on that one tray. That's pretty good.
Yep, easy. I mean, you could do more, but that's enough when you've got rice and vegetables. So I'm going to fill the bowl with 900 grams of water or thereabouts, not cleaning it out.
I've just popped in the chat. I want to know who uses their Varoma and who would like to use it more often. That's what this class is all about. We want to inspire you to use your Varoma and get extra value out of your Thermomix. So I'd love to know what you've been using it for.
Tracy, when I got my Thermomix, just have to tell you this, my consultant said to me, Mary, think of this as 1,000, think of this as another 1,000. And at the time, I couldn't quite get what she meant, but I now understand the more confident you feel with using this, the more value you get out of your machine, because you can double, sometimes triple the volume, and it just gives you more options. So I won't talk too much about that, but one thing a tip I want to tell you, when you steam rice, even though Australian rice is very pure, I don't know how much is in there. I'd say looking at there 2 to 250, I didn't weigh it. Always wash it. And the reason for that is that as the water comes up and moves around, you've already got water in there coating it to add more steam. So I'm just going to wash that.
Yep. Few people have used their Varoma. They steam 25 eggs in Varoma, absolutely. A lot of people want to use it more, which is fantastic, which is what we want to see. We've got stir fries, dumplings, lots of things. But I think it's one of those, maybe it's a forgotten tool. We can double what we're doing and halve our time, which I'm going to be showing you a bit later on. How you can do that.
I'm nearly finished. I'm very conscious that I came on a little bit late, so my apologies again, everyone. There's some of my veggies. I'm also going to add into here some broccoli. I often buy broccolini, but they have none. So one of the tricks is when you're steaming, add a little bit of, well, there's a few things. You can make sure there's, if you can see there, I've added a little hole to let that steam come up and circulate. So I've got that on here, my chicken on top, and then my lid. And I'm basically, this is basmati rice. So every rice is slightly different. Some are harder than others. This is probably a little bit less time than brown rice, but it's more than, say, jasmine or white rice. So I'm going to put this on for, I don't even know, I'm just going to do, because I've done it so often, about 20 minutes, and then I'll check it. But 20 minutes, remembering that you've got 8 minutes with nearly a litre of water to come up to steam. So I'm going to put on Varoma. And I'm going to put it now. Another tip with cooking and steaming, particularly rice, you need the movement to create the steam. So I'm going to put this on for about 3.5. If you've got a 31, I'd go for 4. And I can come back later, Trace, and talk a bit more about that, but I'll let you keep going with the class.
Awesome. We're going to come back to you, Mez, because we want to talk about, I'm just adding my machine, and my dog has decided, see this, my puppy dog down here?
He's gorgeous.
She has decided to come and play. This is Millie, everyone. So we normally have Cardi. Cardi's moved out and gone to Geelong with Brody, so we've had to get a new dog. Anyway, that's Hayley's dog. Okay, so thank you, Mez. Fantastic way to layer those meals. So I'm going along the same theme of getting the most out of your Varoma and trying to cook a couple of things at once. So tonight I'm going to be showing you how to do a really quick, easy zucchini slice. I am too going to be using the cutter to show you the grating function. So you've seen Mary with the slice, the nice thin slices. I'm going to be showing you how it can grate some veggies really quickly. I'm going to be showing you how to steam a sticky date pudding and make an omelette in your Varoma, using your Varoma. So I hope there's a few things that I'm going to give you some ideas. So before I start, I'm actually going to be showing you this sticky date pudding. So you can see on my screen here, I've used my meal plan. So I'll just add them. I'm just going to hit the recipe and it brings it up for me. So previously, what we need to do is we need to chop down our dates, blitz them down, and then we add some bicarb and cook them for a little bit. I've actually done that just to save some time. So I just want to show you how quick and easy it is to get a sticky date pudding put together, and then how you cook it in the Varoma. Okay, so to start off, I'm going to scroll down on my recipe to where I left off. So I've added the dates, I've chopped them down, we cooked them for 5 minutes, blitzed them and added some bicarb. What that does, the bicarb gives it some volume, so it makes the puddings nice and light and fluffy. Another one you can use instead of bicarb is apple sauce, is another good one. You can put that in banana breads or any kind of cakes, which can help make it a little bit fluffy as well. So we've done that. It's asking me for some raw sugar. Now, this recipe tonight is half quantity, so I'm only doing half a batch. So it's asking for 170, but I'm doing 70. Now, as you know on Cookie Do, you can actually halve these recipes yourself and then save them in your own collections, which I've done for a lot of things. So I'm just going to mill that right down on speed 10. We've just done now, we've milled the rice. Who loves it? Tell me it was the first thing that made you go, oh my God, that's amazing, because it definitely is. So we've just made some caster sugar there. So it's another thing you don't have to have in your pantry at all. Make sure your bowl's nice and clean when you're doing that. It's asking me to insert the butterfly whisk. We will do. Quick and easy. Put that in. A half turn there so it stays in. Add 60 grams of unsalted butter. So half, so I only want 30. Put a bit too much in there. Doesn't matter. A bit raw. Can't have too much butter, can you? Insert measuring cup. Now we're going to cream that together. So it's asking me, once again, it's telling me step by step what to do. 10 seconds on speed 4. Now, one thing you do know with your butterfly, do not go over speed 4 ever with your butterfly in your machine, because as Mez said earlier, it will actually chop it up. Okay. So there it has creamed our butter and sugar, and it's asking me to scrape down the sides, which I'm quickly doing, like so. Put that in. Hit next, and cream it again. Very easy step-by-step instructions, this recipe. So to cook this in our Varoma, I'm going to be using some smaller moulds that we've got. Now, on our meat shop, you can buy these ones, which are called the dairy moulds. And they are little white cups, about that big. They're probably a perfect size for just a little snack or a dessert, which is fine. So once we've done that, it's asking me to add 2 eggs through the whole of the mixing bowl. So let's go back one. Let's speed 4. Sorry, I mucked it up. Here we go. Speed 4. And I'm going to crack an egg in through the top. This is just so that we get as much air and light in our recipe as we certainly can. Yeah, that's looking better already. Okay, hit next. We've got 10 seconds to go. That looks really good. Remove the butterfly whisk. Does everyone use their whisk or know how to use it, how to put it in properly? You literally just give it a shake and remove it. That's fine. Probably a little bit, not quite creamed enough, but for tonight, it's good enough for me. Okay, it's asking me for vanilla. Whatever you like. If you don't like vanilla, you can use something else. And it's wanting some self-raising flour. So that was about 80 grams. So this is only a very small batch. Okay, it's wanting our dates to go in. You could see how light they were. They're gone in. Insert measuring cup. So I'll just show you now what that looks like. If you can see that all right. So that's all our date, our flour, our eggs, sugar, everything mixed together. And I'm just going to blend that together for 5 seconds. Who loves sticky date pudding? This made the sticky date pudding on cookie dough. It's absolutely delicious. Scrape down the sides of the mixing bowl and repeat if needed. This recipe is a great one that you can freeze. So once again, it's one of those quick snack sort of lunchbox ideas that you can freeze. So I've just pulled all that back down to the base, as you can see. It's a nice mixture. So what we're going to do, we're going to steam it. So I'm just going to hold you in suspense at the moment because I want to do all the bits together and I'm going to show you how I can cook them all in one Varoma. So bear with me. So that is our zucchini slice. That is our, what did I just make, Belinda? Sticky date. Few people have tried it. It's their favourite dessert. Absolutely. Now, the other thing I want to ask, who's made bacon dust? Has anyone done bacon dust or know what bacon dust is? Oh, okay. There's a recipe. It's another quick 30-minute meal. Beautiful cauliflower soup and bacon dust. You basically cook your bacon. I've done mine in the air fryer or the oven, whatever you like. Let it cool down, dry out. Throw it in your bowl. Just throw it in there. Just like that. It's all in there. And
talking about textures, Trace, it gives such an interesting texture to sprinkle on dishes and things as well.
It does, and it keeps quite a while. So I'm just going to blitz this down on about speed 8, and I'm going to I use my ears then to determine how it's going. So once you hear it sort of go a bit lower in noise, you can say, yep, it's pretty much cut everything down, and there's my bacon. So it can be bacon pieces, it can be bacon dust, whatever you want. So I'm just going to put that aside because I'm going to reuse this bowl for my zucchini slice. Tell me who does a zucchini slice for lunch boxes?
Trace, can I just say there's also, you can actually make vegan bacon dust. There's somewhere on Cookie Do when you use dashi powder. So there's other options if you're vegan too. So just thought I'd just put that in there.
Awesome. Absolutely. Now I've just put my cutter in because I am going to be cutting this recipe short because I'm going to be using our cutter. So I'm going to be grating our zucchinis. So once again, I put my bowl in, my blade in on the grating side, and just clip it all. See how it just sits there nicely that Mez showed us earlier as well? Just sits there. This is my feeder going through here. So I'm going to come out of there, go across to my grating mode, because these modes are now on the machine. And I'm going to select grate, and I'm going to select thin, because at the moment, some of you may or may not be aware, I've had a bit of surgery, so I'm on some really fine diet at the moment. So I'm going to grate this down quite fine. So literally just pop the carrots in like so, and we're going to turn it to thin and watch it go down. See how it locks in? Some zucchini, same. African. Feel free to use whatever veggies you like. The stalk of the broccoli, celery, whatever. So let's have a look. I'm going to lift the whole thing out. As soon as I take out my cutter, I'm taking out the middle, just like the butterfly. In the habit of taking it out first. Let's have a look. So there is all my finely grated options for my zucchini slice. Look at that. Beautiful. So thermomix can do that, but I like the fine texture of this thin grate, so that's why I use it this time. Okay, back to our recipe. Okay, zucchini slice. I'm going to be finished soon. Where are we? Here we go. Okay, so it's asking me to preheat the oven, which I've done. It's asking me to grate some cheese. Now, if anyone has got a Thermomix in the house, they have grated cheese already. So I've done that in my slicer there, grated that cheese down, which is beautiful. And you can do a thick grate or a thin, it's up to you. It's asking me to put the zucchini and everything in the mixing bowl and chop that down on speed 7 and then set aside. So I've already done that. So half the recipe's already done in like 2 seconds. Now it's asking me to do the onion, 1 brown onion, throw it in. Yep, there's some bacon in there. Happy with that. Some bacon. I've got the bacon dust to add later on. And I'm going to chop this down for 3 seconds. Now, as you know, most of the time, when you're cooking, when you're chopping down bacon or onion, it always asks you to scrape down the bowl. What that does is it makes sure that all of the good stuff is down the bottom, because we're going to cook off that onion. It's asking me to cook it off for 5 minutes at 120 degrees. Now, while that's happening,
I just had a couple of questions, Trace. Is this a good time, or do you want to move on?
No, go for it.
Just had a couple of questions in the chat, and I've tried to answer them about the cutter compatibility with the TM5. So I just explained that no, the actual mode won't be on the TM5 screen, but yes, the cutter is compatible. And what you'll do is select a speed to use the cutter, and with each blade, you've either got, you know, the slicing or the grating, and you've got thick or thin. So you'll use forward speed for one and reverse for the other. And the cutter does come with a specific TM5 welcome book for those customers, explaining you how to use it for that. So I hope that's helped clarify that for everyone.
Yeah, and the modes won't come down onto the cook key either. So when you've got your little booklet, just keep it somewhere handy. You can actually print it out and keep it handy.
I think once you've used it a few times, you'll understand obviously how it works. Just the first couple of times, you'll want to follow the instructions, and then it'll just become sort of second nature.
Yeah. Also, on the blade itself, It does have thick or thin on it. So it's pretty, you can sort of tell. Now, what I've done here, this is a Va Varoma. I'm going to see if you can see it. Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's better.
So I've found these little half cups at the moment. So as I said, we could use a dairy mold, which is a bigger one, and they're available from the mix shop. But I like my pudding sort of all the same shape. Tell me, because it's easier for lunch boxes, it's easier to freeze, and these batches will be going in the freezer. So I use these little half ones, which I actually got these at Aldi, but you could use patty pan tins or whatever you want. So I've just filled probably 3/4 full with the sticky dough pudding. So that recipe you can either cook in the oven or you can steam. So I'm going to be showing you how to use the steaming function on the Va Varoma for that. Okay, so they're in there. Our onions are just about done. So it's asking me for some eggs. 5 minutes. I'll put in 2 eggs. Ask me for 5 eggs. There's a zucchini slice. So if you've got heaps of veggies left over and heaps of eggs left over, this is really a great one to use up a heap of stuff out of your fridge. That's for sure. Okay, I'm going to do 3. I'll do 4. It's a bit more than half a batch, this one. 4 eggs. Some rice flour. Don't have any, so I just whipped up some rice. Happy days. Pinch of salt. Some pepper. Add all my grated veggies. So I'm just going to be throwing these in. Literally. And like Beth said, you don't have to clean the bowl. The Thermomix bowl was clean, and I'm literally just pouring that in there. I'm going to add some of the bacon. It's going to be delicious, people. Who wants to come around for lunch tomorrow? It's asking for 80 grams of olive oil. I won't put that much in. We'll do half anyway. Insert measuring cup and mix it through for 6 seconds. That's it. That's a zucchini slice. I'll show you. There it all is. All mixed, ready to go in 6 seconds. So
Such a versatile recipe.
Oh, this is like my Sunday thing. It's like whatever I've got left over, basically throw it in with 100 grams of flour and some eggs, and you've got yourself a zucchini slice. So once again, I'm just going to fill up 3 of these little cups. Now, if I was doing this just normal, I would probably have both my Thermomixes going and have the dates cooking in one and the zucchini slice cooking in another. But I wanted to show you as much as I could today. So we've got 3 zucchini slice, 3 sticky date puddings ready to steam. Now, how do I cook them? Well, what we need to do is we will just put a litre of water, the same as what Mary did. Mary had 900. I've got about a litre in the bottom. I can turn that off now, and it's going to steam as the water heats up through the bottom. So I'm going to show you how to do a quick omelette. You can do this in the machine, but I'm only doing 1 egg omelette. So I'm literally just mixing it. I'll put my Va Varoma there. Can you see that there? Okay. So I'm literally mixing 1 egg. I'm going to put a bit of salt and pepper. You can do an omelette up to about 8 eggs and it fits nicely on here. I'm going to throw in a little bit of bacon. And I'm going to throw in a little bit of my leftover veggies.
You know, Trace, I have never made, I think I've done an omelette once or twice,
Yeah.
but not frequently. So I think this is something that I could utilize a bit more as well.
So what I've done is I've got some baking paper. Now you can use a Varoma trays if you want to, and I've crinkled it down. So it's easier to place in the Varoma once it's crinkled. You can dampen it as well. I'll show you what it looks like once it's been damped, because it's like the rice that Meg was talking about. It just helps the steam generate a bit better.
Lee's just commented 4 eggs, 8 minutes on Varoma speed 1, and that works really well.
There you go.
Thanks, Lee.
So we've got 1 egg, which is great. This is anyone that knows me, I'm not scared to say, and I'm very proud of myself actually. I've just had bariatric surgery, so I am 15 days post-op and very excited about being able to have omelettes and things now. So that is what I'm just making a little one for myself. 1 egg. I'm literally just going to pour that on the top of the Varoma, like so. It'll just find its place. Okay, pop it on top. So we've got our sticky tape, we've got our zucchini slice, we've got our egg on top. We're literally just going to cook that off. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put it on for the 4 minutes on Varoma. B2 until the omelette's cooked, and then I will let the others cook a little bit longer. So that's me.
Perfect.
Zucchini slice, great for lunch boxes, and all done in what, 5 minutes each. So yeah, there you go. I'm just going to. Any other questions at all?
There was just a conversation about papers, and Lee has also commented you can actually buy pre-cut papers from the mix shop, but
Yes.
Another option would be to turn your Varoma tray upside down and just do a light sort of outline, and that'll be slightly bigger than the base, but it'll just allow it to sort of sit in.
Yeah. Another really good tip while you're there, when you're cutting your baking paper, it doesn't have to be perfect at all. But on your Varoma, Mary might be able to show you all. Have you got one, Belinda? Down the side of your tray, there are little air vents. So when we're doing anything on our top tray, we've got to make sure those air vents aren't covered. So I just got some scissors with that and trimmed it around. That's fine. So I'll come back when it's all done.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes.
I'm a new Thermomix owner, and I'm a little bit confused about something. So
Yes,
when you say put it on Verona, is there something on the screen I'm supposed to press to make it?
Yeah. So you know how with our Thermomix, it's time, temperature, and speed. On the temperature dial, the middle dial.
Okay. Yep.
Varoma, if you keep on right around, Varoma is the last temperature.
Gotcha. Thank you.
No worries.
I was very confused, but I'm good now. Thank you.
Great. That's what we're here for. That's why we do these wonderful classes.
You know what I do? Just a quick thing. Cut out Varoma and put the word steaming. So you know it has to be over 100 degrees. Varoma, I don't know why they chose that word. I looked it up in German, but I just think if you think over 100, it's got to be boiling. So temperature. Just remember temperature.
Yeah. I think they used it so that people recognise if they're using the Varoma basket, it needs to be on Varoma temperature.
Yeah, it's still, to my mind, it's not the best use of language. Sorry, school teacher here. I'll get out of it now.
I've just, Belinda, I've just found some mushrooms that I sauteed. I'll put them on my omelette. I'm good now. See ya.
Excellent. Hi, I'm back. I'm going to be making some yogurt for you tonight, and I've been trying to work out how to get that big light out of my screen, but I don't think I can. I'm sorry. Now, what I'm making for you tonight is creamy vanilla yogurt, and you might be thinking, how am I going to have this all made tonight? Well, the answer is I'm not, but the amount of prep time to start yogurt is a really short amount of time. And I've actually put a batch on this morning at breakfast time and it's finished. So I'm going to show you what the finished product looks like, but I'm also going to just run through making it today. Now, you're going to have to pay a little bit of attention because I have modified the recipe. I'm using pretty much the ingredients here, but I do have a few changes that I've made, and I'm going to be using these little yogurt jars. Now, these come from the mix shop, and they come with little silicone lids because when you're steaming yogurt, you need to have a lid on it. And the other option for steaming yogurt, which I will just get and show you. So this is the batch that I have done earlier today, which is in my Varoma, is a white thermoserver. So for any of you that have had a cooking demo with any of the consultants, you would have seen that this white thermoserver is a host reward. It's the only way you can get the white thermoserver, and it fits perfectly inside the Varoma. So I'm going to show you the yogurt in a little while. You'll just have to wait for that one. Okay, so what I'm going to be using today is actually long life milk. The reason I'm using that is it's a bit of a shortcut. So the recipe is going to ask in a moment to heat the milk up to 80 degrees. I'm actually not going to do this because this has already been heat treated and it's shelf stable. So I'm only going to heat the milk to 45. I'm going to be using some yogurt as a starter. Now, this is a purchased yogurt that I have bought from the supermarket, and it is the Yalna pot set yogurt. Now, because I'm making vanilla yogurt tonight, and if you're going to make that recipe, you'll need to use a purchased starter. But if you want to make a Greek yogurt, you can always save a portion of your yogurt to use as your starter for your next batch. I'm going to be using also some milk powder, and the recipe calls for a vanilla bean, but I actually just made a couple of days ago some vanilla bean paste. So I'll be using some of that in tonight's recipe. So let's just get it started. It's telling me to put a bowl on top of my lid and weigh my yogurt. So I've done that, 55 grams, and I've set that aside, and that's ready to go. It's now asking me to put in a litre of milk. Now, slight modification again, because I'm using these jars tonight to ferment the yogurt, and I have done this multiple times. If I make a litre, I won't fit it all quite in these jars. So I'm only going to add 850 grams, and I'll save the rest for a smoothie. I don't know, anything that I use milk for in the kitchen. So I'm just going to pour this in. Be careful not to splash it everywhere. Have to do it a bit slowly. If you upend the milk, it'll just literally will splash everywhere. Now, because I'm modifying things a little bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the milk. I'm going to add the milk powder. I'm going to add the vanilla. And I'm also going to add just a small amount of sugar. So this is a slightly sweetened yogurt. But I'm happy with the little bit that I add. It just takes the tartness off it, but you can actually make it the first time and then you can decide how much. Oh, hold on. Oh my gosh. I've just dropped out. Oh no, I haven't. Sorry. I'm all good, Trace. Sorry, something came up on the screen. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I've dropped out. What a disaster that would have been.
Don't
Sorry,
I just when it's live.
I think it might have just come up with some Zoom updates. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, where have I gone? Okay, couple of things. And, you know, I can't remember the lady's name who said she was fairly new. If you don't know this little tip, this is a really good one. At the top of the screen here are 3 little dots, and you've got your recipe detail, and you can go back and read what we need here. So I'm going to be adding 50 grams of full cream milk powder. So I will just go back to where I am. But I'm actually just going to go also back here and grab my scales because I want to add my milk powder in now. Sorry, I'm just shutting out some noise. So I'm just going to add in the milk powder. Now, my little tip here is if you like a thick yogurt, you can always add a little bit of extra milk powder. So said 50 grams, I've added in close to 70 there. The other thing we need to add here is our vanilla. Now, it says a vanilla bean. I'm just going to add a nice big spoonful. And I tend to just put the spoon in with the milk because I want it to get all the vanilla off there. And I'm also going to be adding the sugar in. Now, I've pre-weighed this. The recipe said 40 grams. So I'll just see if I got the right amount. Oh, pretty close, 38. Okay, so now that I've added those ingredients in and I've added the vanilla, Now we want to warm this up. We don't want to leave the measuring cup on, so we just leave that off, because when you're warming it, you just want to let any moisture evaporate off. And I'm going to turn my temperature back down to 45. And this is only going to take about 3 minutes. And I'm just going to turn it up to speed 3. So while that's going, what I'm going to do here is we're going to warm that and then add our yogurt. But I wanted to show you what the finished result is, because when you're fermenting yogurt, we're using the fermentation mode, which is inbuilt into the recipe. If you are a TM5 customer, let me answer a couple of these questions that are coming up. There is an automated yogurt mode on a TM5 where you make the yogurt in the bowl. I don't have a lot of experience in that. So please check with your consultant. And there is a few people that have a few
Belinda,
great
it's
videos.
done exactly the same way.
It's exactly the same, but you just do it in the bowl, yeah?
You leave it in the bowl and the Thermomix just stays on and does its thing overnight.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, you just put it in the fridge. You pour it into jars or whatever you want into the fridge.
So the yogurt I'm making tonight, I'm going to put it in the jars and obviously put it in the Varoma overnight. And in the morning, I'll then pop it in the fridge. So like I'd done this morning, I fermented the yogurt. Now it's set for about 10 hours, but you can comfortably ferment longer than that, even 12 hours. And I have seen some recipes, not on the Thermomix, but a few bloggers who want to have less lactose in their yogurt, and they actually ferment up to 24 hours. So I know Quirky Cooking does a 24-hour ferment yogurt. So if that's something, if lactose is an issue for you, you can have a look at that. But we're actually really lucky now that you can buy a lactose-free yogurt. And I think Valia have a small lactose-free tub of yogurt that you could buy as a starter to make your own yogurt. So I thought while I'm just waiting for that to warm up, I will just take my lid off the Varoma here and show you what your result is going to look like. So now you just have to remember that this hasn't gone in the fridge yet. And that's how thick it is at the moment. And that is going to thicken. So I'm pretty happy with that result. So that is going to thicken even more. I get to taste test. Now that is not a super sweet yogurt. It is just a little bit sweetened. So that'll go in the fridge and it will still keep thickening. Probably just going to grab that for me. That'll thicken up to 24 hours once you put it in the fridge. Now, back to what I'm making at the moment. You'll notice in the middle, you've got your target temperature and your actual temperature. And I can see that my milk here has already reached 45 degrees. So at this point, I can actually just stop and continue on with my recipe because I've already got to this temperature. So if I had just used normal milk, and you can absolutely use normal milk, heat it to the 80 degrees and cool it to the 45, it'll take half an hour, could take 45 minutes. If you're in wintertime, sometimes I sit my bowl outside to cool down in a hurry if you want to do it that way, but the long life milk just cuts that whole step out. So it's telling you to take the vanilla pot out. I'm not doing that because I made my vanilla paste. And now I just need to add in my yogurt mixture. So some recipes will tell you to pour a bit of yogurt into here, mix it up, and then add it back in. I don't think it actually makes much of a difference. So I'm just going to tip it in, and I'm just going to blend that in because it's just at 45 degrees. Someone's in the waiting room. Let me let them in. And we just need to mix that. So I've already added my milk powder and caster sugar. I've done that. And we're just going to blend that up for about 5 seconds. And that's literally all you have to do. So now I'm just going to pop my yogurt into my jars. And while I'm pouring it, I might be able to flip back to you in a minute, Trace. It just says divide amongst the jars and then place, and I'm going to grab my other bowl because I've been fermenting the yogurt earlier. I've still got my water in here from the yogurt I fermented today. And it says to use 250 grams of water. Now I've still got water in here and I've still got lemon juice. Now, this is really important that you use lemon juice because it's going to prevent any rust of your blade. So I've still got that in here and I've still got plenty. So I'm just going to add that in and I'm going to pop my Varoma filled jars on here in a moment. Grab my other, what have I done with my other bowl? Put it over here with my actual yogurt. So all I need to do now.
Yogurt alone will actually pay for your Thermomix for a family who uses yogurt.
I think you can save about $500 a year making your own yogurt. So that's pretty simple now. So I'm just going to pop these on and then pop the fermentation mode on. Now, there is a couple of little, like the yogurt is not, it's not quite smooth. Don't worry about that. It'll just all come out once, it'll all thicken up as it ferments overnight.
Yeah. What else I do, Belinda, which might help people, is if you wanted to add a bit of coulis or something onto your yogurt, or some granola or something, 3/4 fill these little tubs, and it gives you the space in the top to add your own toppings when you want to.
Yeah, there's another recipe that I do make that has the berry coulis on it, and it's actually really nice. And I put the berry coulis at the bottom and then add the yogurt on top, and you just ferment it all at the same time. I do like to make that one, but I thought for tonight I just keep it simple and just make the vanilla.
It's beautiful. Who's going to try yogurt if you haven't done it before? So easy.
Do vinegar, water, rinse in the bowl before making the milk. It cleans the bowl from other. Yeah, so you can do a pre-clean with water and add a tablespoon of vinegar, and that will help make sure your bowl's really nice and clean. Yes. So yeah, that's pretty much filled all my jars. So all that's left to do now is you've got your fermentation mode, and I just need to grab my lid and pop it on. So that'll go overnight, and then in the morning, I'll just pop those in the fridge and they'll be ready for tomorrow afternoon when the kids probably get home from school.
That's awesome. That is awesome, Belinda. Well done. Hey, before we go across to Mez, I think Mary's going to talk to us about steaming chickens while we're cooking our bit. I just want to show you, now this omelette is finished, so I want to show you what it looks like. Now, remember, this is only 1 egg. So normally you will do a lot more than that. I'm going to show you how easy it is to get it out. So take my Varoma off. Can you see it there? All I'm going to do is get my slide. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it. Oh, you can see it here on this machine. Just bear with me a minute. Okay. Make sure you don't steam your fingers. Everything. Okay, I'm literally going to take the base and I'm going to flip it over like so and pop it on my plate. So you literally just flip it over, pop it on your plate, and it's done. You can see it better here. There's my omelette, 1 egg. Just wanted to show you that. So there you go. I'll bring Mary back now. So tell me, who's going to be doing yogurt or something like that that you've seen tonight? Where's Mez? There she is. Add spotlight. There she is. There she is. Mez, can you talk us through steaming a chicken?
I will. I thought just before I do that, I'll just quickly just show you what we've actually made. So, and just a couple of tips using your Varoma. As Tracy said before, steam is hot. It's over 100 degrees. So one of the ways you bring it off away from your face, bring it down, sit that onto your top so it acts as a base so there's no spillage, because while this has been cooking and I've been listening and getting all these tips that even as a seasoned consultant, I always learn something new or get inspired. I've cleaned all my kitchen. So when we're finished tonight, girls, maybe another glass of wine. We'll see. Oh, so
Good on you.
So we have alcohol-free Mondays and Tuesdays. I get to Wednesday, especially on a beautiful day like today, I'm ready for a bit of a, party. So with your spatula, there's a little hook here. Can you see? So that is designed to come into your steaming basket and hook it up like that. So you're not touching. So I'm looking at this rice that is basmati, which is hard for me. It's hot, full basket. So rice never goes to waste here. If you don't want to use it all, great little tip is to put it in let it cool down, put it in little snap lock bags, flat, put it in your freezer. You will never want takeaway again. If you need a quick lunch, a bag of that, in the microwave, tin of tuna, a few herbs, a little bit of cheese, you've got a really healthy lunch that's all prepared for you. So with 2 dogs, sorry, I didn't wear the right dress here for cooking, but, it was we'll just go there. We won't go there. So here we go, the chicken, all here, beautifully done. So 20 minutes, they're all done. And remember too, if you leave that in your Varoma, and just leave it like any food, it will continue to cook. So even if they look not quite cooked, you've got a little longer for them to continue to cook in the heat. So I don't even know if this will all fit. So I don't know if any of you know, I'm using an oval thermo server. That is it's actually too much. So when people say to me, I don't know how to feed a family of 6, learn to use your Varoma. It just means that you can, I can't even put the lid on that. I'll show you in a minute. It's actually overfull.
Wow, that's a meal and a half.
It is a meal and a half that will happily feed a family of 6, especially if you've got sticky date pudding to follow. But I do want to talk to you. I have 2 6'3" big boys in our house, and one of them is a tradie, so he's physically working all day. So I have nearly every week of my Thermomix life, once I got onto the Varoma, steamed a whole chicken. And I'm talking a little chicken, I'm talking the biggest chicken you can get. So I would fill my bowl up here, and this is on my Facebook page for my customers. There's a document. And I know there's a customer on here that is actually holidaying in New South Wales. Maybe they might come on. I won't put you under pressure. Hello, by the way. I'm hoping that everyone will have a go at this, because this is on my weekly rotation. In summer, I use the chicken for salads. In winter, I put it in the oven for 15 minutes and crisp it up. But this was a lifesaver for me when I had kids. I was a single mum during the week because my husband worked away. I would fill my bowl up to at least 1.5 litres, maybe a little bit more. Fill my steaming basket or rice basket full of the ends of my carrots, my parsley stalks, a bay leaf, a few peppercorns, end of carrots. Put it in with the lid on. I would put a whole chicken, and if it was a high one, I'd just give it a bit of a crunch, a bit of a crack, a whole lemon in the cavity in there, and lots of baby chats of cut up vegetables. Put the lid on, and for 99 minutes on Varoma, on speed, about 1, depending how long I could literally put that on, run the kids around to soccer, do what I have to do, take the washing off the line, hear the reading, all those things that us parents do. And then at the end of it, I would have a beautiful succulent chicken with nearly 1 litre of preservative-free chicken stock for my risottos and my soups and my French-style meals. So you waste nothing. And if you really, really want to get really technical, when you've eaten it all, you can throw your carcass in with a bit of the stock and blitz it into a pate for your dog. I don't do that anymore because mine's had pancreatitis, but you talk about waste. That, if you take that style of cooking and use that once a week instead of a takeaway meal, which all of us need sometimes in our life, you again have paid for your Thermomix. So I bought mine for time and to know what was in my family's meal. And I remember my consultant telling me 11 years ago when I bought my 31, you use it on a consistent basis it will pay for itself. And I said, I'm not doing it about the money, I'm doing it about the time. But it would be really interesting to actually run a little book and actually see. I did for about 6 months and I nearly had it paid, and then I got busy and it just went by the wayside. But that's about the whole chicken. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about your Varoma, there's a couple of ways. I think I showed you that it was very important to make sure you had a hole in the middle to allow the steam to come up so it can circulate. One of the tips I got back in the old 31 days was you can put, and these are a little bit long, but you can put a couple of chopsticks or a couple of forks on the bottom. And what this does is just lift everything off to allow the steam to circulate. See, that way. And I think on the mix shop, I've had this for a long time, some of the old cake stands can actually sit in there. It does the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's just to help circulation. I think that's a word. And one other thing I wanted to talk to you about also was when you're steaming like Tracy for date pudding, sometimes there's, the steam rises and drips. A quick tip I learned was to use a bit of paper towel, put it across, put it on, bring it nice and tight, and then there's no drip factor. So if you're making something really delicate like a cheesecake, that's probably a good tip to have.
That's great, Mary, because I have that problem with the white chocolate cheesecake always gets wet.
Yes, so that's a really good tip. There are other things that you could use, but this is just a quick one. Most of us have paper towel, and it decomposts, really quickly. So it's not a reusable thing, but at least it breaks down a lot.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. So
Do
we've seen
anything
your.
else?
No, I think we're done. So we've seen your amazing dinner that would feed an army. Absolutely. And just the way you're steaming that chicken and getting the broth and that as well. What a money saver. Belinda, you showed us the yogurt, which is absolutely amazing in 2 ways. There's also another great recipes in there that you like, which is the cheesecake in the jar.
I haven't ever remembered to talk to you about this, but it's a recipe that I recently tried. In fact, Mary told me about it, and it's called cheesecake in a jar. And it is a really lovely dessert. And you could make them in the jars that I showed you tonight from the mix shop, or I actually found these other jars that have got a little bit of a wider top. Probably 180 ml jars is about what you want, and it's got a biscuit base at the bottom. You put your cream cheese in and you steam it, and then you just need to cool it, and then you make like a berry coulis that goes on the top. So it's got 3 layers. Now, my little tip for making that recipe is don't push the biscuit down too much at the bottom of the jar, otherwise it's kind of hard to, when you get your spoon in to eat it. If you've packed it down, it's really hard to get it out. So just lightly put the biscuit at the bottom, and don't worry when you're putting the cheesecake in that it doesn't look all smooth, because once it steams, it'll rise up and it'll fill all the holes. And it just, mine was a bit rustic the other day. If any of you follow me on my socials, I did make a little video about making it the other day, and they were so delicious. I thought definitely great for a picnic if you want to take them somewhere, or just have portion control in the fridge.
Absolutely. Now, before we
tip
sign
with that
off,
one to bring the biscuits down with the back of your spatula. Just give them a little bit of a tap in the jar.
Yeah, good idea. I just used my spoon, but that would have made much more sense.
Absolutely. Look at these.
Woohoo!
So we've got 3 of each. Now, just a quick tip. I know we're going to sign off and we've kept you for over an hour, but I just want to thank you. Just quickly, be very mindful when you're using a Varoma about heat and steam. These little black ducks, turn it upside down and it comes out straight on a plate. Same with the puddings. It's fine. You can let them sit for a couple of minutes if you want to, but these little silicone molds are a perfect size for a quick little lunchbox dessert, whether it be puddings or chocolate cake or whatever. You can.
And the recipe does have a
freeze some too. Freeze them so like I wish I had some in my fridge now. Now that I've seen you make them, all of a sudden I dessert.
Yeah, and it's great. You can just get them out for visitors or whatever. But that sticky date, half the recipe made 6 little puddings. So if you're only cooking for 1 or 2, half a recipe is perfect. Some for dinner, some for the freezer. So thank you guys. Everyone's enjoyed it tonight. We love having you all come online and share these amazing tips that we get from our consultants. Please pop in the chat what you've learned, what you're going to try, what you loved, as we sign off and say goodbye. Keep your eye out for our next class. Put in the chat if there's anything else you want us to do. Do you want us to do more Varoma, more lunch boxes, more baby food, more kids, more meat, more vegetarian, whatever? Tell us what you want and we'll try and put it together.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Belinda.
Thanks, Belinda. If anyone wants to pop off at their chat, please do come and say hello. We're more than happy to chat or ask any questions. For the people that are in my team that are on tonight, can you please hang around? We'll have a debrief at the end. I'll just turn this other one off. Good day. See you all. I can't wait to eat this omelette. I'm hungry. That was really good doing that. Like in that, you know, you have your zucchini slice and your sticky date all cooked all together. It's pretty good. I've put the rest in our gold bakeware and I've baked it in the oven. I'll show you.
Mary, a customer asked if you added any more sauce to that.
And I just answered and said no, but I like more sauce.
Okay.
Check this out.
Wow.
So you can steam or you can bake.
It's funny, Tracy, many, many years ago, we did a cooking class. Back in the old days, we had 40 people in front of you, and we did one lot steamed and one lot baked, and we had a poll, and most people said steamed because of the delicateness.
Yeah, they're softer, aren't they? I've done it. I've done that too, Miz.
Yeah, it's just a really delicate. I mean, some people like the caramelization around the edges, and that's nice too, but the delicateness of the steamed, they kind of melt in your mouth.
Yeah. Okay, gluten-free recipes. Now, if Magella, if you're still on, she's not. I'll have to send her an email. I guess she is. Magella, most of our recipes, because you can buy some gluten-free flours that are 1-for-1 swap, particularly the Aldi brand.
And
they're a 1-for-1 swap. So if you're making a cake and you want to make it gluten-free, feel free to add in a little bit of extra moisture and a gluten-free flour. Or you can add an extra egg. Is that right, Mary? You're the person who would probably know more than me.
Oh, look, anything gluten-free tends to have a drier consistency. So it's one of those things, depending on what you're cooking, you can use, if you can't have eggs, you can use chia seed, a bit of water. Sometimes if it's a pastry, I'll use a bit of water. It really depends on your recipe. But yes, it often asks for a bit more liquid. As to what type of liquid depends on what type of recipe and your dietary requirements.
Yeah. The other thing is, if you have cookie-doo, which I'm assuming everyone has cookie-doo, if you go into the search bar on cookie-doo and type in gluten-free, you're going to come up with a whole lot. There's a whole lot of recipes and collections available to you there. But most of the times, particularly the Aldi flour, it really is a 1-for-1 swap.
It's interesting. I worked in a cafe over COVID, and they gave all their cakes were gluten-free and they used the Aldi flour. Always worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to remove some people. Okay. Jackie, we'll see you. Heather, are you there? Don't know that she's... I'll just remove these and I'll just stop recording.